They trapped you.
They trapped us. We was ordered to conduct a detention operation. Now we're in a very dangerous situation. Their number one target's been taken off the deck.
You got put in for a citation for this.
It got pushed up to the director of special forces.
I'm bringing that up because of what you're about to say.
Technically, I've been arrested for murder at this point. I've never murdered anyone in my life.
Let's talk about your last operation.
I was an assault team leader, so not a troop sergeant major, but an assault team leader. So I was in charge of a fire team, essentially. But I was also a targeteer. And we'd been watching this guy conduct attacks. He was the partner force's number one target that they wanted. He was an assassination cell leader. He'd done a whole bunch of nefarious stuff. We'd watch him open and carry weapons, which was very rare. It shows one of two things: naivety or full radicalism, because they don't open carry, because they know we can see it. So if they do, then it means they're serious. They're true believers. So anyway, after weeks at this point of gathering information, intelligence, we was ordered to conduct a detention operation on this target, which I planned or was involved in the planning with heavily, and we did everything we could to mitigate risk to force and mitigate risk to mission by our planning process and our professionalism in terms of trying to put ourselves in the most advantageous position in order to capture and detain this individual, which was the main goal. The objective of this operation was to detain this individual. So the order was given, signed off from the highest level from my regiment to go down and attempt to capture this individual. So on the night of the operation, July 3rd, 4th, we went down, and that morning he'd conducted an assassination on a local checkpoint, and we observed him wearing a suicide vest. And I remember coming in that morning and being like, damn, looks like he's got a vest on. And then we get reports, human reports, telling us that, yeah, that's exactly what's been going on. And he's now driving around this town with that vest on as a status thing to say, this is what I'm about. Doesn't change a thing for us. We approach the same operation as we would do anything. There's no more or less diligence put into it. Due diligence is always applied, and we try our very, very best as professionals to make sure that we are not putting ourselves in unnecessary risk and that we're dealing with the situation in a professional manner. So it doesn't make any difference to us. It doesn't change how we look at it. It doesn't change our mindset. It doesn't change our approach to this target. It's just another target, and we would consider all people to be of high threat. This one was just active at that time. So anyway, through a series of events, we moved down on vehicle. And the primary location that we had planned to do the operation had changed last minute because he's now hiding in a rural location, which we know and have observed before to be a hideout location where they go to cache weapons, which we've seen there, to plan attacks, and to basically hide out when they think the local partner force is probably going to come and try and do a raid. He was right, but unfortunately for him, we'd been watching him for weeks, so we knew exactly where he was going to go, and sure enough, that's where he was. Anyway, as we move closer towards the target, he gets spooked. He then moves off into a different location, and we go firm where we are, and the decision is made to pursue into an urban area, which we don't take lightly, because we've planned meticulously and in detail for a very long period of time executing the operation on a specific place on the ground. So we understand it. We've got, all the positions are there and all the cordons and all the rest of it. So now we're having to take a little bit of time to just reevaluate the plan, do a risk assessment, and understand the situation that we are potentially walking into, and does it merit the sort of risk versus reward conversation, which to us it did. And we were comfortable with what we did. Comfortable with the decisions that we were making at this point. So we get off the initial target and we start moving into the urban area where this guy has gone back to his original location, his original house. He's picked up a couple of other individuals that we know to be assassination cell members. and now moving to a third location, which is a known weapons cache. And we know it's there because we've got the intelligence reports and the ISR footage to back that up. So it's all matching in line with pattern of life. It's all nefarious, and he's already tried to avoid capture one time when he heard our vehicles. So now he's effectively moved to another position and then a further position to avoid capture. So our intention never changes. We are there to conduct a detention operation. We get out of the vehicles. As soon as we get out of the vehicles, we're engaged multiple times from different firing points. Very difficult to PID those firing points at night and in that time frame. You've got multiple radios going off. There was no aviation. The JTAC couldn't get the Apaches overhead quick enough. So we were basically on our own. And now we're in a very dangerous situation. You have to understand, Shawn, that we are not on the original target that we planned. We are now in a place of his choosing in the night against guys that are armed. We know them to be armed and are now engaging us actively. I'm not going to go as far as to say troops in contact, because that has a different connotation in my brain. That's a different thing, but we are under fire for sure. And everybody in the task force acknowledges that. There's like 50 people on the ground and everyone's seeing what we're seeing. This is not just my opinion, this is fact. That's been backed up by dozens of witness statements at this point, ISR footage, etc., etc. We get out, we move into an L-shape formation, which is exactly what we would employ to do a detention operation. At this point here, there is absolutely zero doubt in my mind that this is a very dangerous situation, but we are making every single attempt we can to capture this guy, detain him. We're still taking incoming rounds into the team. Now I see people maneuvering, and he's not maneuvering away. He's not maneuvering in a way that's peaceful. He's not got his hands up. He is moving in an aggressive manner, and he is moving tactically. And when I mean tactically, I mean up, down, like soldiers move when they're moving into position. Now I know that there's weapon caches around it and we're under fire, so I have to make decisions on what I'm seeing in front of me. So I make the decision to engage the target. It's hostile intent to me all day long. It's a threat to my teammates and it's a threat to myself. And the rules of engagement are there to help us, and this is well within our rules of engagement for the most part. But we are there to detain this guy, but he is now trying to fight us, basically. So my team and I, we return fire, and we start to maneuver up on this element. So we know that there's 4 people, right? And we are getting closer towards the target, and I engage one of the targets from roughly 130 meters and get effective hits on target, essentially. And we're still maneuvering up towards the thing. So in my mind, there's 4 people out there, and this is highly dangerous. So we're moving with extreme caution and due diligence, making sure that we've always got one foot on the ground, making sure that we're communicating to our satellite and call signs, and making sure that everyone is aware of what we're doing. There are no fratricide issues, and we're now closing up on the enemy as per good doctrine, okay? As we start to get closer, you can start to see this individual moving, still moving away from us and like across our path, not backwards, not forward, not surrendering, and not putting his hands up. And this is immediate threat. Now we're in a farmland, basically. It's undulating ground, it's dark, and it's a high risk position. I'm now committing my teammates and myself towards these enemy combatants that we have already established are hostile, and there should be 4 and we're only tracking 2 at this point. So this is an extremely dangerous position for me and my guys to be in. And due to the professionalism, the courage, and the, extraordinary level of, boldness from those guys next to me to my right and left, we managed to close down these enemy combatants and neutralize the threat ×2. I'm still concerned about where the other people are, so we then withdraw back to the vehicles and everything's okay. We then go and conduct SSE on the 2 bodies, confirm what we need to know. The partner force are absolutely ecstatic at this point. Their number 1 target's been taken off the deck. So all in all, there is a level of satisfaction that we executed a good operation. We were planned to do it, and the fact that he bought a ticket and voted was his option. He did that. We gave them multiple chances to be detained, and they wanted to fight us. They wanted to kill us. And it just turns out that we were better than they were. It's that simple. So I don't really think too much of it. It's, it's what we were there to do. We were ordered to go and do that, and we demonstrated our professionalism to the highest level, in my opinion. And at the time, I thought that would have been okay. Our commanding officer at the time signed it off and was happy with what had happened and had no issue with it. And then it got pushed up to the director of Special Forces.
You got put in for a citation for this, correct?
Yeah, I was given a citation for that whole deployment, but it never came through. It disappeared somewhere in the mail, But yeah, I was told by multiple people, including my sergeant major, well done, basically. We've written you up. I'm not here for medals. It's nice to get recognition. It would have been nice for my daughter, for sure. It would have been a nice way to end my military career.
Well, I'm bringing that up because of what you're about to say.
Yeah. Before I go into what we're about to say, it's really important for context that people understand why this has happened. About 3 days before that, there was a BBC Panorama documentary making allegations against the regiment for, alleged misconduct in Afghanistan 10 years previous to this. Now, the guy that was front and center in the crosshairs for this investigation is a guy called Gwyn Jenkins. And he is now the first Sea Lord. At the time, he was the director of Special Forces, so in charge of all Special Forces. He is under the crosshairs for his mismanagement and unprofessionalism in dealing with these alleged incidences, 10 years previous. So it goes through my regiment. It goes all the way up to his level, and he decides to launch an investigation into this, in his words, to show transparency, even though there's probably nothing wrong. And if there was anything wrong, they wouldn't have launched an investigation on it. Does that make sense? So he's done this, and he admitted to doing this on a VTC, and I stand by this because there's a whole room of people that saw it. He basically said, it's more important that we be seen to be doing the right thing than it is for this incident to go away.
See you later. World's tallest building.
What do you think, Shawn?
We're high.
They trapped you.
They trapped us. Yeah, and I'll read you some of the impact statements from the individuals shortly. I'll give you a broad brush and then I'll get into some details. This happened 3 years ago, Shawn, and it's only last week that they've concluded that there was no wrongdoing and we've been acquitted of all charges. No sorry. No compensation, emotional compensation, no nothing. And it's ruined people's lives. And it's something that needs to be addressed because this can't happen again. And it's not okay. And it's not fine to just wash it under the carpet and carry on. That's not in my nature. This isn't about anything other than having our perspective put across. And I've spoken to all the guys involved and they fully support what I'm doing because they know, hopefully, this might prevent it from happening in the future. I've already won the battle in terms of I've been acquitted. I've been vindicated that I did the right action after 3 years. 3 years. To a point where I was even questioning my own self, That's a dark place to be. And it's a very stressful situation to be under investigation for double murder, something that isn't true. and something that doesn't read well.
And all the media picked this up.
All of the media picked this up. We didn't get a voice. We didn't get our opinion. We've not said a word. We've been professional. We've been dignified, and we've carried on, essentially, just trying to maintain some sort of level of sanity and try and rebuild our lives. But the level of accuracy of the media reports has to have been from a leak. It has to have been. There's no way on earth they've got the picture completely wrong and there's no context in it. But the broad brush, the main details are roughly fairly accurate to a point. So it has to have come from inside the organization itself. And it's incredibly difficult when people keep putting stuff in the newspapers, on the news, and family members are reading it, and it's always murder. You can't look past the word murder. I've never murdered anyone in my life. I'm a professional soldier that does exactly what I'm supposed to do inside the confines of my rules of engagement to neutralize the threat if needs be. Like I've been trained to the highest level. I've operated next to some of the most professional operators on the planet. Professionalism is something that we take extremely seriously. And it's insulting to me that people would think that we were unprofessional. And it's shameful that they can band us with accusations in order to save their own personal careers. That's disgusting. That should never happen ever again. But it just kept going and going and going. And they tried to arrest us all at the same time, but they failed miserably because of the RMP, the military police's incompetence. Okay. I'll tell you my personal situation first. They flew out to theatre. They came to our operation station, our command post. They arrested me. They searched my room. They confiscated my tablets and my phones, so I couldn't contact my family. And I don't know what they were looking for. I don't know what they were looking for on there. Their argument was, well, we have to arrest you so we can seize your personal electronic devices. They're in a bag. There you go. You can take them. So yeah, but we need to search your room. The keys are there. Do it. They still did it. So technically, I've been arrested for murder at this point. Now, when people look at investigations in the past, we've done this before. Yes and no. Nobody's been arrested for it. Okay. One of the guys was arrested in front of his mother, in front of his sister, and the RMPs told him, we're arresting your son for murdering 2 civilians. I've got it all written down. I've got it all here, everything documented. One of the guys was arrested at his home in front of his wife, where the policeman told his wife squarely in the eyes, we're arresting your husband for murdering 2 civilians. You can't unsee that. Family members will never, ever be able to unsee that. One guy was tricked by the RMPs of coming for an interview under caution. They got him in a room. They basically locked the room and said, bang, you're under arrest, so they could search him. Whilst we're deployed, whilst we're out there serving our country, still operational, still trying to do the right thing, and we have to deal with this not only at home, but also overseas, okay? So it's a lot for people to deal with. We were offered next to no support when it comes to legal aid. It was 65 days, I think I've got the detail. I'm going to read all this stuff out in a minute, but it was over 2 months of limbo where we had no legal support because they couldn't be read on to the specifics of the operation, which we're not talking about for legal reasons and disclosure reasons. But we couldn't even get lawyers. They wouldn't even provide us with lawyers. And the ones that they did provide us with initially wouldn't do it because they weren't getting paid enough money by the MOD. It's disgraceful. So a lot of the guys felt very isolated. Fast forward till 14 months ago, I'd left the military. I was trying to put everything behind me, move on, and try and give something back. I took a job for GBRS as their lead instructor. I went out to Virginia Beach and I was staying with DJ and Patsy at the time, lived in their house for the best part of 3 months. And I was granted an O1 visa for extraordinary ability. And that O1 visa was a pull, not a push. And what I mean by that, I was written commendations from SWAT team guys. I'd also spent some time at the unit. I'd trained guys from Green Team as a guest instructor. I deployed with the US flag on my chest. The United States asked me effectively to come out and help train law enforcement officers, SWAT teams, military units, etc., etc. That was what I was going to go and do. That was my future. I come back to the UK to collect my visa, and one of the things that you need to provide is a sheet which states whether you've got a criminal record or not. I don't have a criminal record because I've been in the military for the best part of 20 years serving my country. But on this piece of paper, it says wanted for investigation, under investigation for murder. Now I'm at the US Embassy with this sheet and I have to show this to that lady, at which point they'll negative. We are not giving you a visa because it says you're under investigation for murder.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.